wants to be sure, 'cause you know sometimes words have meaning. And it's humming and it won't go, in case you don't know. The piper's calling you to join. Yes, there are two paths you can go back.
Jimmy Page, who bought Corolli's mansion, said the lyrics for Stairway to Heaven came from an old ancient manuscript of satanic witchcraft. Robert Plant, who's the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, who is steeped into black magic, is singing about a witch with a stairway to heaven. The next lyrics, he goes on to say that words have two meanings. And then he said the piper is calling you to join him because there are two paths. Now, who's the piper and why would he be calling you? Ironically enough, in the book of Isaiah, Lucifer had pipes built in him, musical pipes. He was a musically built creature to worship God. In the backward mass of the Eagles, you hear them say Satan is building his own religion. Going forwards in the Stairway to Heaven, Jimmy is stating that the piper is calling you. Let's listen to the backward mass of Stairway to Heaven now to see what Jimmy is stating. In Mick Jagger's lyrics, Sympathy for the Devil, it states, "What's puzzling you? Is it the nature of my game?" Isaiah chapter 28 verse 1 says, "Woe." Verse 15 it says, "You have struck a bargain with death and sold yourself to the devil." The ones who struck the bargain with Satan, they claimed that they can never be touched because, now get this, we are under the care of the one who deceives and fools them. What's ironic about these people is that they're believing the deceiver is going to protect them. In Led Zeppelin's music with the Eagles, that's exactly what they're doing. Thessalonians doesn't give these people much hope. Here's what it says. He will completely fool those who are on their way to hell because they have said no to the truth. These contemporary people are believing the utopia lie, the one that John Lennon sang about in Imagine. It's the UN theme song in Rio, which we will be soon talking about. So what you just heard in the most popular rock music ever by the Eagles and Led Zeppelin, and he has plans on building his own utopia and his own religion. The next person is Jim Morrison. He overdosed himself in Paris. He had an interview back in 1969. I have a soundbite of this, and I'd like to share a copy of it with you.
I once wrote a piece on you called The Shaman as Superstar, in which I suggested that rock musicians, rock heroes, perform a religious function for kids, for young people. Do you sometimes see your concerts as a sort of ritual?
Yeah, it's a funny thing. I've read a little bit about shamanism.
America, it's just the opposite, really. A lot of people are, at our concerts at least, they're sort of, it seems like they don't really come to hear us speak politics.
What do they come to hear? I mean, I know you can just say
I think they come more for the religious experience.
Did you catch that comment? The Doors are telling us that these concerts are a place of religious experience. Whether you know this or not, everybody worships something. And the Doors came up with a song called Break On Through to the Other Side. So I'm going to play you a small soundbite of this song. And then we're going to backward mask it.
We chased our pleasures here, dug our treasures there.
In Jim Morrison's music, as we backward mask the piece where it says treasures there, let's see who he's courting and having a religious experience with.
Oh,
Clearly, you can hear in the Doors' music the statement, I am Satan, I am Satan. But not just the Doors. There are many who have a religious experience with this being called Lucifer, Satan. The two states that report the most satanic activity, first is California, secondly North Carolina. And if you listen to any rock station at all, you will hear all these songs that I have recorded and let you listen to, because today they still, even though they're oldies, they get a lot of airtime. But where did this backward mass come from? It came from a person named Aleister Crowley. Two major occultic groups honored him. First was Beatles, and the second was Ozzy Osbourne. Eagles in the album Hotel California showed Anton LaVey, who was a student of Crowley. But Crowley, however, wrote a book called Magic, and he said in the book, anybody who wants to be a student of Satanism has to learn to write backwards and walk backwards and watch a lot of television and movies. Now, if you want to hear firsthand the satanic method that Crowley spoke about in the book of Magic, is going to be in the song Darlin' Nikki. And here's a soundbite.
Knew a girl named Nikki, I guess you could say she was a sex fiend. I met her in a hotel lobby, masturbating with magazines.
Did you figure out what that message was? That was totally going forwards what you heard. There are three ways to backward mask. The first one is what you just heard, when a person says the words backwards, like Natas means Satan. The second way was like the plasmatics, Wendy O, has done in a studio. That's how they created that one. The third way is the way that the Blue Oyster Cult did their song, I'm Burning for You. And here's a small soundbite of it going forwards, and then I'll turn that same piece going backwards. So what you just heard was a backward mass that was demonic. It wasn't staged. There's no way in the world, by the words that are being said forward, would they ever come back that way in a backwards mask, unless there's a demonic force working there. The Blue Oyster Cult is stating there's someone in us and there's something evil in us. And that is the evidence in their life, in their lifestyle, and in the music that they sing. Now we'll backward mask Darlin' Nikki and see exactly what that group is stating in the backward lyrics. Wendy O was right about brainwashing. This song here, Darlin' Nikki, done by Prince, a masturbation song, totally mocks the coming of Christ. To the person listening, if you keep listening, you will hear about the 2,500-year prophecy that happened April of 2008. Make no bones, it was no coincidence. And neither is it any coincidence that Prince would sing these lyrics backwards, just as Crowley instructed his pupils who would want to follow after Lucifer. Let me take a moment to read something to you found in Revelations chapter 12 and verse 12. It says, Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the seal, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Let me show you just how fast this creature is working. When Baum put out his first edition with Wizard of Oz, he sold around 35,000 copies. However, when Rawlings brought Harry Potter to the world, he has sold up to date 400 million copies. The churches back in Baum's time resisted the movie coming out. In Rawlings' time, just this recent number of years, they actually filmed Harry Potter in a closed church setting. Actually, the world has accepted Harry as a good example for the children. Now that takes conditioning, and that's what has happened to us. One footnote on Harry Potter. The book has been put into 67 different languages. If you think this hasn't affected our children in the last decade, think on. The fastest growing religion in North America today is witchcraft. The occult helped to bring in the revolution in 1917 there in Russia, even though Lenin and Stalin were total atheists. And you can still see some of the symbols of Russia that are occultic. An occult is going to bring in socialism in America, and the symbols are very plain to see. This is my belief, but I think there are three avenues that will bring America to socialism. First one is the occult. Second one is going to be entertainment. And third one is politicians. The first one I mentioned is the occult. On your dollar bill, on the reverse side, is the all-seeing eye of Horus, who Franklin himself was an occultist and a socialist sympathizer. Looking at entertainment, Conway Twitty, who died at the age of 59, once said, "There's things that he's done he's ashamed of." But he went on to say that the music we're listening to is bringing us down. With Morrison's interview, and one of his band members mentioned the use of politics while on stage. L.A. Woman was one of the songs that they came up with, and I want you to listen to the beginning intro of that song. Then decide for yourself what kind of message the Doors was displaying about the United States of America. Thirdly, I mentioned political figures. The next person you're going to hear is President Bush's father back in the early 90s.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
How can you imagine that? A new world order. The Prime Minister of England, Brown, just said recently, "We're all socialist, comrade." And that's true. To have a dictator, we need a socialist government. And the occult knows that the only way to get it to be a socialist is to draw people away from reality. Johnson was the father of the blues and rock and roll, who sold his soul to the devil at Clarksdale 49. The last album put together by Led Zeppelin, Page and Plant, was called Walking into Clarksdale. Page said he has a jar of that dirt that he keeps from that there crossroads. Eric Clapton says that he was the greatest writer and singer and blues guitarist. Isn't it ironic that the all-time hit, Stairway to Heaven, done by Led Zeppelin, would be somehow connected to Johnson, who sold his soul to the devil, and sings about it? And on the reverse side of Stairway to Heaven, you get these very lyrics. "Here to my sweet Satan, I want to live it backwards, like Zepp, whose power is Satan, and he will give you 666. It is not a coincidence." The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame said Johnson was the bedrock of the modern blues and the rock and roll. Johnson, in his own musical lyrics, sings he went to the crossroads where he exchanged his soul to be a musical genius.